What's up, guys? It's Justin. I'm back. Today we're doing a hackathon finalist review for the finalists of our F100 hackathon. I'm joined by David Wirtz, CEO of Fractal, and my co-founder, as well as Jen Lee, who's on our community and content team. How are you guys doing this morning?
Great. I'm super excited. I feel like it's a month plus coming for this day, so it's going to be awesome.
Nice. I love the enthusiasm. It's like 6 a.m. where I'm at, so I'm still getting into my enthusiastic state of mind. All right. Well,
You're
There's not a
wired.
better way to start off the day, Justin.
there's no better way to start off the day. That's true. Okay, so any comments on the type of people we're going to see before we get started? What are you guys excited most about?
Got it. Well, I'm excited about all of them, honestly. We've got projects of different shapes. We've got like Fractal Ranks, which is going toward utility value for Fractal NFT holders. And then we've got games that are building on top of Fractal NFT, which is a completely different, ball game. So a little bit of everything today.
Honestly, I'm really excited. I know that we're probably going to have our own opinions for who's going to win one, two, and three, but I'm actually super curious who's going to win the community vote. Like, who really got in there and kind of used the Discord channels and got some hype behind their project? Because I feel like a lot of the times in this space, like having a strong community behind you is so important. So I'm really excited to see who the community actually puts their like basically puts their vote against and see who wins the community.
It'd be really awesome if we had the winner of the community vote actually go through the Fractal Launchpad, because it's obvious that the community loves them, right? So that would be a good starter for actually raising some funds so they could continue with their vision.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm excited to see what people make, and if like a real full-on game came out of this, I think that'd be an incredible success story, and far beyond my like any expectation I had. So, all right, you guys ready to go?
Let's do it.
Hey all. In this demo, I will show you Fractal Ranks. Fractal Ranks is a web app in which you can explore fractals and their rankings. But let me start by explaining the algorithm used to calculate the rankings. The rankings are calculated by first ranking all individual attributes: power, purity, velocity, altitude, and spin. And I made the assumption that the higher the score, the better it is, and that every attribute is equally important. Next step is to sum all the ranks of every attribute and rank on this sum. This means that the number one rank has the highest score overall, so on all attributes combined. The ranks are calculated per faction and overall. Okay, so let's take a look at the Fractal Explorer page. On this page, you can filter and sort all fractals on their attributes. So for example, let's take a look at all the fractals on sale from the faction Penta and with a high power. So now we have a total of 49 different fractals. We can see that whenever a fractal is on sale, it's deep linked into the fractal marketplace, so you can immediately buy your desired fractal. And you can also sort on all the different attributes. So let's say I want to find the cheapest ones, which are filtered. Then this is the result, the Yeti. Let's take a look at a specific fractal to dive into the details. So every fractal has a dedicated detail page. On this page, the rankings are visible of every attribute, overall, and inside the faction. Next to that, there is an attribute comparison visualization. And in here, you can easily spot the weaknesses and strengths of your fractal. My fractal is compared into the average of all fractals.
That's awesome. I love that.
Cool. Every fractal has a owner, and in this overview, I'm grouping all the fractals by owner. This is a collection. So this owner has 40 different collections with a total floor value of 96 Sol. And this is calculated by multiplying the number of fractals per faction with the floor price per faction, also taken from the fractal marketplace. You can also take a look at all the collections. This is sorted on the number of fractals, so the biggest holders at the moment. And if you click on the collection, you can also filter again on all the fractals inside that specific collection. Okay, up next, I want to show you the extension. I've created the extension so that we can enrich the Fractal marketplace with ranking information and the visualizations you saw before. After installing the extension, the Fractal marketplace is enriched, so every fractal has a small visualization overview in which you can see the rank and again the comparison. This automatically updates whenever you filter, so you can use it while finding your fractal. Okay, the last thing I wanted to discuss is the vision. I have two big ideas moving forward. The first one is that whenever games are going to utilize the attributes of a fractal in a specific way, I'm going to create rankings per game. I think this can be lots of fun, so I really hope some of the games later on are going to use the fractals like that. Another thing I'm hoping for is that fractal attributes are going to change over time, and then I can create additional visualizations to track the evolution of a fractal. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you. Thanks all, and see ya.
Thank you. Let me chime in first. First of all, I think it's just phenomenal work. I love the vibe of the site. I think it's super responsive. I think it's incredibly useful. I love the Chrome extension. I particularly love the radial plot, the snowflake plot that shows how special a fractal is on all of the different dimensions, because I think it quickly represents to users what's special about a fractal, and I think there's some really awesome ways to spot spot your favorite fractal. And then I'm really excited about the changing of attributes of fractals over time and all the things you can do there in the future. So super psyched.
Cool.
I'll go next. I love the echoing everything that David said. I think this is, for me, I'm like inspired to go out and try to get more games to integrate fractal, so that there's, especially along different dimensions, so that there's more, kind of uses for the treasure hunt capabilities that Fractal Ranks brings to the market. So really awesome job. Thank you.
Yeah, this is great. I think my favorite part, and this kind of speaks to the creativity and interactivity part of, I think, the criteria that we had posted in the Medium post, is the browser extension. I think that is a really key, really creative, but also a key part of the Fractal Ranks experience to kind of get people to use it in a way that is already part of their browsing experience where they're already on the Fractal site. So I definitely see definitely some strengths in the creativity and usability aspect of Fractal Ranks.
One question for you. What do you find that people, when they're on the site, what do they look at? What do they look for? What are people using? What features are people using the most?
I think they're mostly searching for their own fractal to see how it compares to all the others.
Gotcha. People want to understand what's unique about their special snowflake.
Yeah, exactly.
I have another question for you. You mentioned something about rankings per game. Could you just dive into what you meant by that?
Yeah, of course. So I think it's possible for games to utilize the attribute of a fraction in a specific way. Let's say one game is only focused on velocity. It's maybe a racing game. I can then create different rankings based on that specific game type.
Got it. So rather than treating all the attributes the same, mixing them, having a rank specific to the racing game so that potential buyers of the Fractal NFT could buy with the game utility in mind.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So if you want to perform better in a specific game, maybe you need to have that specific fractal, and then you can find it via the rankings.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for giving us the demo. Great work.
Thanks for having me. See ya.
Thank you.
All right. See ya.
Okay, so hi everyone. So I'm from Tales of Fractals, and this is my project. So we call our project Isekai Land. That's because Isekai means different world or other worlds. So there will be several worlds, for example, cyber world, and then the forest, and also desert, the void land. So this is just example. So each world will have a story which is related to each other, just like Marvel universe, for example. This is why the name of our project is Isekai Land. So I will explain more about the Isekai later. So this is about Tales of Fractal. So like assume that the Tales of Fractal will happen in the like cyber world. So this is like the founding story of the fractals. So this is will be one of the story that will exist in the cyber world. And the story is like about the founding story of the fractals. So we can see here like we will create like a cinematic scene. For example, the story is like Justin and his teams will go to a mountain and then suddenly found a fractal, but there will be a fraudster that try to sell fractal to an audience. So this is like kind of inspired by the fractal founding story. And then after that, Justin will come and save them, and then use the fractal power to create some useful, some of the great, like awesome laser shot. Yeah, and this is the screenshot from our game. So basically, after Justin won, and then Justin can give the power of the fractal to the citizen, and then the citizen can use this power, like for example, like the Hexa will have like a big laser shot, and then the Penta can have like a smaller laser shot but still powerful, and then the Quad can have something like a protective shield, and then the 3 can have like a very very what's like an area skill, something like that. And then its property of the fractal will affect how powerful the skill is. Yeah, it is something like that. And then we'll come in the character selection. So this one is like how we incorporate the fractal story more. It's like by using like Justin as a character, Jen as a character, Brand as a character, and we will also add more character in the future. So this one is, for example, like one of our good vibes is Pitch, and I talked to him like and then, oh, it's really nice if you can add like a hammer like this one, because he like to use like a gift, like a hammer shot. So we will use something like this one, and also like inspired by the David profile picture, we can use something like fire school, something like this one, and then the school can shut a fire. So this is how we incorporate the fractal community into this game. And then about the
like
scoring
your
system.
superpower is sneezing, David. Sorry to interrupt. I just said I like the superpower is sneezing.
As long as the sneezing cuts through those bullets, I'll take it.
No, it won't be. But it will kill the enemy for sure. Okay, so and back to the score system. The score system will be like not only just by killing the enemy we get a score, but because of the pattern of the bullet is quite difficult. So the closer you are to the enemy, then you will get like more score. And then it will go into the leaderboard, and then from this leaderboard we can get more creative, like for example provide a whitelist token as a prize, or maybe another prize, something like that. And then we also think of about another mode. We think of about like a cooperation mode that we can use, and also we can also use like a PvP mode, so can fighting each other. And this one is like the final like long-term vision of the Isekai. Is like, imagine there will be an arcade city inside Isekai where a lot of arcade machine can be found. So partners like Yaku or MetaOps, Psyker, this partner can create a mini games to be embedded in the arcade machine, and then Fractal community can just go to the Isekai and then try the games. So the utility can be like Fractal as a ticket to play this game, or maybe Fractal as a special power in the mini game. So these mini games can be useful to promote the existing NFT project to Fractal community, and also let the developer experimenting with Fractal NFT, so it can get like more traction. So Fractal NFT can be more useful, because I can see now it's like the developer is like a little bit afraid to utilize Fractal. So I think with this kind of feature, then we can attract more developer. So not only partners, but the mini games also can be created by Fractal communities. Moreover, in the future, I hope that Isekai also can be a community project. So like Sunflower Land in the Polygon. So Fractal can be like a hub of a game developer as well. Yep. So that's it. So for the demo, you can go to Isekai Land. It's.io/fractal, and for the Twitter handle is Isekai Land.
Thank you. Did you do these sketches yourself, by the way?
No. So we have a team. Okay. So I have a team. So my background is I co-founded like a comic sharing platform. So with my CEO, I can get like a lot of talents. So basically, we use that leverage advantage for us to be advantage for us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I love the characters. I love the fact that you're connecting the characters to the members in our Discord community. Like Peaches with the hammer is hilarious. Of course, I love the Fire Skelly. Maybe the Fire Skelly will do more than just sneeze, though.
Sure, maybe like a fire breed.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be a little bit cooler than a sneeze. I tried the game. I loved, I think that these mini games, there's so much potential with these mini games. The games don't need to be that complicated. Where the magic can happen is how the communities can battle each other in them, and the leaderboard. So you can imagine a world where there's like an arcade, right? And there are all these simple
Yes,
games.
exactly.
Yeah, and there are all these
Yeah.
simple games, and they don't take tens of millions of dollars to develop. Maybe they take only a few $100,000 each or whatever, and then people have so much fun just battling, monkeys versus apes versus bugbirds, right? So
Yes, exactly. So the initial idea of the Isekai Land is actually because we are from a comic background, so we want to create like a something like a Marvel universe, like one comic and the other comic is like related to each other in the story. But then we found a Fractal, and then we think like, okay, this idea can work for games too. So the idea is surrounding that idea. So we already purchased the isekai.land URL also.
nice.
Amazing. I love the characters. The animations are amazing, and you got to send me like a PFP of my anime character
Sure.
so I can throw it up on Twitter.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to see the game. The
Yeah,
game is,
it's
I mean,
on.
I played the game I played the game, and I'd love to see like,
Oh wow.
more levels and see it get built out a little bit. Like the idea of like having this kind of like side-scrolling shooter is, it's like a classic game format. It could be really fun, I think. So I played the demo. It was cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think everyone really enjoys the characters and kind of like the design of the whole thing. I think that definitely looks really cool. I think definitely super interesting in how you like the vision and the interactivity. I thought was really like it really showed in how you talk through your different slides. Like David said, I think like having the game by itself is already cool, but the fact that you're thinking about this vision where this will incorporate how our game partners can participate, how the community can participate, I think that makes it so this is like it shows off the potential of what the MVP that you built could be. So I think that's really exciting.
Thank
All right,
you.
Yuri, have a good one.
Okay. Thank you very
very
much.
much.
So hi everyone, I'm Igor from Anima Shell project. This is our project Anima Shells. Shortly about the project. It's an action RPG game in a post-apocalyptic modern world with dark fantasy atmosphere. The gameplay mainly centered around shells, lifeless mystic statues activated by energetic cores or fractals. We also made fractals in the core of the lore of the game. So players just place their cores into the shells. By cores we mean fractals, and they activate the warriors with like different classes. It's like isometric action RPG game for web and PC. So this is our main features. As I mentioned before, we have cores, fractals in the center of the gameplay, and also in the center of the lore of the game. We are going to have PvE, like story mode with like chapter-based quests. We are gonna have raids and PvP arena for the future. Right now we have 5 elements. 4 of them are like in fractals, like quad, penta, hexa, and 3. I forgot about 3. And also we are gonna have 1 neutral nature element, so everyone at start are going to be the same. We also have 4 classes: warrior, mage, assassin, ranger. They also defined by Shell's traits, Shell's final traits. We also have manual spell casting when character uses runes to cast various spells, and each spell has like a rune receipt where they can see how to cast the spell. We also gonna have city hubs for socialization where all players can see each other's players, and we have a feature called old world artifacts, like we can use partnered NFTs in the game. This is our shell. As I told before, it's lifeless character. We have will, strength, agility, speed traits. Without core, our shell is like we cannot play with our shell. We have to place cores, fractals into the shell. So if we place 3 faction core fractal, and if strength trait is dominant trait, our character becomes psionic warrior. If we place quad fractal and with dominant trait strength, we become crystal warrior. So here are the fractal usage within the game. In our game, you can just place your fractal into the shell, and the name of the fractal is gonna be the name of the character. As you can see on the screen, System is one of my fractals I own, and I just used it for test. Also, fractal holders are gonna have exclusive access to all elements. Like we're gonna have 5 elements in the game. 4 of them are fractal elements. Players start with neutral element, but if they have, let's say, hexa fractal, they can access to element light element. Also, fractal directly affects all the shell's parameters. It's like attack, speed, health, etc. And also it affects abilities of the shell. So we mean full use of fractals attributes. For example, if you have a supersonic fractal, you become very fast ranger, or if you have very powerful fractal, you can become very powerful warrior. So this is short video demonstration how shells fractals are placed into the shell, and as you can see, all the characteristic stats change in accordance to the core, in accordance to the fractal. We can use any fractal from like any fractal you have, and like their stats will be different. It means that each fractal holder, each core is different, and player also different. Here we test mage class, warrior class, and as you can see here, strength trait is dominant, therefore the shell becomes warrior. So here will trait is dominant, therefore our shell becomes mage. So here are the example of warrior class. We have 3 warrior, psionic warrior, we have quad, crystallic warrior, we have electric, penta warrior, and also we have hexa warrior. Like we have 5 elements for classes, it makes 20 combination of 20 characters, 20 different warriors. By old world artifacts, we mean the future where you can use any NFT you own as without like distracting the breaking the lore and immersion to the game. We are going to justify the use of NFTs or artifacts in the game. By use of other NFTs, partnered NFTs. We are not partners with Yako, it's just like sample. For example, if you have a Yako motorcycle NFT, you can use it in the game and achieve 15% bonus to the speed. Right now we are working on chapter 0, the beginning after the end. It's a whitelist demo where players are gonna win their whitelist token, and main mechanics and it like introduce it to the player, and players just introduce it to the lore. We are gonna have only warrior class, like 4 of them. We're going to have limited skills. We also have some Easter eggs like secret lore. It will be available to anyone, like it won't be bound to the fractal holders. And we're gonna have limited whitelist tokens, number of whitelist tokens. Planned release time is in March or early April. Our team is MetaMath Studio. Previously we worked on more than 14 mobile projects. We also were working on 2 private web projects. One of them was NFT game before we made the game design side. Here are our team, like game designers. Me, I'm head of studio. Mag Kurbanov, Zibeir, Shirvani Mevlut Farid, and our CEO Visal, and CTO Farid. That's all, I think. I just want to demonstrate you one of the, like, how the fractals affect the fighter parameters. This is a little, let's say, spreadsheet where I have obtained some open data of fractals. So if you choose, for example, Hinas fractal, this is real fractals. As you can see, fighters' final attributes change, therefore fighters' parameter change. So we use this table to test like our formulas and see how these mechanics work. So strange is dominant trait, so this fighter is gonna be warrior. Or for example, yes, this one also is gonna be warrior because some fractals are powerful. Golden. Yeah, that's all, I think.
Cool,
Amazing,
Igor.
Igor. Thank
awesome,
you.
man.
Thank you.
You go first, Justin.
Yeah, I love that you incorporated all the different attributes of the fractal into the shells. You know, making the shells better at different characteristics. And yeah, I love the idea of, like, you know, the class is kind of determined by the attributes in fractal and like which one is dominant. And that, I think that's like a really cool way to you know, a very creative use of fractals in the game. So, you know, I think that's pretty cool. And like when we've talked to other gaming companies about including fractals in their games, oftentimes it's like you know, cosmetic or access based. Like it allows them to like get access to something, but this is like something that's really integrated in the game, and that was really exciting for us.
Actually, our game's lore, like story narrative, everything was built on the fractal because, according to our story, like researchers, they created cores from fractals, and fractals were like phenomena that happened before apocalypses, and like we got inspired from fractals attributes. Therefore, like fractals are in the core of gameplay.
It's great. I love how the user drags their fractal into a core and it just like completely bursts with color. Like I think that the visual effect is just on point, you know.
Actually, right now we're working on better visual effects. We have separate VFX and shader graph artist. In demo, we couldn't manage, like, because we made this game in like 6 days or 7 days. We had previous projects to complete. We had some responsibilities, therefore we couldn't like postpone them. But for now, like visuals are better, and we're working on that visuals.
I love the whitelist demo. Like users player is able to earn whitelist tokens based on gameplay. I think that's an awesome idea. It's a good way to build community and get the Fractal community into your game. So good job. Awesome work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, very cool. I think that it's awesome that you actually called out your team. I think that's like one of the key judging criteria that people always overlook is like, why are these people like going to be the ones who can take it from what they're showing us today to something that was actually going to be something big in the future. So I really liked how you called that out. And kind of like everyone said, I think the interactivity with the Fractal NFT, the fact that it's like really ingrained in a part of your lore, like hopefully the apocalypse isn't actually happening, but like within your game, it sounds perfect. And it makes a lot of sense. And I think the attention to detail in terms of how the like how someone becomes a warrior versus a mage, depending on the attributes of the fractal that they own, is really exciting because it can incentivize people saying, oh, like I played the game a lot as a warrior, but I actually want to try to play it as another character. Let me go and see if I can get a quad in that and see how they experience the game differently. So I think that was pretty cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Igor.
you, Igor.
So actually, the game concept I came up with is like I thought about the Fractal community when they have they own NFTs, the Trifaction, the Quad, the Penta, and the Hex. So I thought about we turn these NFTs into characters, and the best concept which fits into this genre is actually a multiplayer co-op ARPG game, and it will be on a mobile and PC actually, which is Web3, and we can see a few things about the concept here. And I thought, and I named them also, which is the Tri-faction, we called him Tri-Frizo, and the Quad, we called her Quadriana, and the Penta, we called her Pentaricia, and the Hexa faction, we called them Hexilian. And each character had their own abilities and powers. Like the Hexa you see here, he's a wealthy teleporter with a powerful Thor like hammer and shield made of gold. We can see Penta, she heal her team and herself, and she also have like a magic attacks. And the Quadriana, she's a fast combo attacker with sharp metal weapons. And the Tri-faction, Tri-Frizo, he used his frozen wand with icy beams and icy spikes. And we can see a little bit of the gameplay. This is our new main menu. He's a healer, Hexilian, he's a teleporter, and he's a tank. So I'm gonna try Frizo. So here we can see these guys are at the moment AI bots, but it's gonna be multiplayer. So let's say me and Justin and David, we join. We can talk to each others. We will have like invoice chat and texting. And if I click here, this is the mobile version. This is a mobile. And the PC, we will change actually the UI. I'm gonna just turn down the volume. As we see here, so we're gonna actually, it's like we have to work in groups, and we made this thing here, so no one can cheat. Like let's say David, he wanna take the rewards by himself. He can't go here and take the rewards by himself. So we came up with a mechanics that we all the group that playing the game have to be near it and then activate it. So now we get like rewards, and we made some bait system. Sometimes like a player, you want to go to the chest, but it's an enemy. So we have like 5 levels at the moment, and let me show you Tri-Frizo. And this is his like powerful abilities. He can freeze the enemies. I freeze them, so now my group can attack him. So if I get hurt, I can like call Mike and tell him, please heal me. And sometimes he tell me, I can't heal you. My abilities is like refilling. You have to wait. And here we see the plus, which we can actually sell NFTs as skills on Fractal platform. And we can sell skins for Trifrizo and Hexillion and Pentericia and Quadriana. Every time we buy NFTs for the game, it actually goes to the Fractal, because this game is based on Fractal and it's for the Fractal community. So it's actually buffing up their main NFTs in the wallet. So if I own try NFT, I will get Trifrizo in the game. But also, while playing the game and doing quests and missions and raids, I'm powering up my main NFT in my Phantom wallet. And now we're gonna be like finishing few enemies. So now we can activate the Solana gem and get rewards. It will not be stars because we done this system like within 1 month. So it's gonna be like more things to do in the game. So when we like activate the Solana gems, we're gonna get rewards and we're gonna share them with each others. And these rewards can be like our skills will be faster, powerful, and this one will be like NFTs. We can buy more skills via the Fractal website, which we can have like here. It will take us to the Fractal platform, and we can buy a few like NFTs, skins, weapons, shields for the Hexillion, magic attacks for Pentericia, better weapon and faster weapon attacking for Quadriana. And of course, we're gonna make the art much better than this. You can see we use like low poly because it's faster, and we bought them actually. But the core loop and the game mechanics and all that, we did that all by ourselves.
It's awesome. Thank you.
So what we thought about also, we can have more like mods in the game, more to come, later on, because I think this project is like long term, and highly potential play and earn project. Like we can have a special boss events who beats a certain boss will get like a whitelist on the next upcoming projects. And how will that work? It will work in groups, and the groups get fewer times. The groups who gets fewer time to beat the boss, they will get like a whitelist on the next project that you guys have. What I think is people maybe will like this concept because every time you buy like things from the Fractal for the game, it will buff their main Fractal NFT in their Phantom wallet. So yeah, that's the concept actually, basically.
JD, that's really awesome stuff. I love the character development. I love the fact that you created these unique characters for each one of the factions, and they have unique unique powers in the game. Like Trifrizo, like throwing ice and freezing bad guys, and the healer. I like the fact that it requires 4 people in the community to play as a group, and they can't get too far away from each other. That level of social coordination is really neat to think, because people could get really good at playing with each other. Like we 4 could go in and just like crush, because we're so used to like how to attack the bad guys, right? So I think that there's some really awesome stuff here.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes, when you play like raids in World of Warcraft, people, can snatch like rings or rewards, but this will not work in Fractalians. You need to be like near each others and activate the Solana gem, and then the rewards will come, and then you can share it with each others. And also they can play as mixed. People ask me, do we have to be like hexillion, quadriana, and penta and tri? I said no, it's mixed. It's up to you guys. But I think the most powerful people will be penta and the hexillion, because they are so powerful in the game, and it will be like Clash of Royale, the mobile game, Clash of Clans. I think no, Clash of Royals. There is like only 100 champions in the game, and people actually pay them monthly to join their group so they can play against the other. So it's gonna be like a sick concept, and like crazy concept, and people will like, everyone will have like win to win concept. Everyone will have a great concept, I think, or like a business.
Question for you guys, or for you, JD. Do you have a game development background? Like, tell us about your team.
Well, actually, I love games. The IDs I come up with, this is my ID, and the team, they built the IDs that I come up with. We have been doing this for 3 years now. We have been working with Voodoo, with Tap Nation. We have been working with Lion Studios. We have been working with Uploven, and you can check them out on LinkedIn actually.
Awesome. Well,
Yep.
it definitely looks really great and super excited to see what's next for it. But I think one of the things that definitely stood out for me, and I think David said as well, is like the creativity to make it multiplayer. I think that experience of like being able to play together creates a sort of stickiness that I think if you're just playing by yourself, you might not get. So I think that was like a really good incorporation, like some of creativity there, which is cool.
Yep.
So
Thank
thanks so
you.
much for pitching.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, well, hello. Hope everyone's doing well. My name is Neil Shah. I'm a professional software engineer and UI UX designer. I was on a one-person team for the F100, and my submission is a multiplayer defense game called Crystal. First of all, thank you for this opportunity. It was like a fun, creative project that I really enjoyed working on. And I'd like to start with just a little intro to the game. In the beginning, the Hexa were responsible for the crystal, the fabric of the universe. The world was full of light, and all the factions lived together in peace. One day, a shadow began looming in the distance, capturing light from the crystal and using it to grow stronger. Soon there was chaos and the world fell into darkness. The four factions are uniting once more to make a final stand against the shadow and claim what is rightfully theirs. Your team will start with a single fractal base and some crystal where you can place some towers to help defend, while you start expanding your territory using your Fractal NFT ship. Soon, shadow drones will realize what your team is up to and try and stop you. It's up to your team to unite and strategize together to push back the shadow and hold the line. And here's what will happen if you don't. So, what was accomplished during the F100? So I logged about 40 hours of design and dev time, wrote about 1,500 lines of code, and everything was done inside of the Unity game engine. So I modeled the assets inside of Unity, and I didn't get to the Pentafaction, so sorry, Pentafaction. The core game mechanics, I've listed them here. I won't go into details about every single one, but just overall, I've spent a lot of time implementing these in a way that is extensible and maintainable, and should not require many developers to kind of expand and make more complex. So that's kind of the highlight of that. And I'm happy to answer any questions about anything specific later on. And then the final thing was a multiplayer proof of concept using photon fusion. And I should have listened to Chris, made my life a little easier, and used photon pun. But I ended up making this mistake, but hey, you live and learn, and maybe we'll migrate over after this. So in the future, there's a ton of things I want to do. Here's some of the main features that I think will be really attractive and focused on the multiplayer aspect of Crystal. So having a lobby system with the main mode being survival mode, and I'm aiming for 128 players playing in the same game, which seems like a lot, but I think it's possible. Maybe changing some design decisions along the way. Other modes are possible, like faction versus faction, which was actually suggested by someone in the community, and other things like progressive modes are also possible. Shadow variety, so this is kind of expanding your enemy, so different AI factions that behave differently. Some might grab more territory, some might focus on your base or go after players. Shadow towers to kind of combat invading fractal ships into the shadow, and then boss shadow drones that where you have to team up against them and fight them together instead of kind of one-on-one. Attack and defense capabilities, projectile variety. So right now it's just simple bullets, but there can be a variety there and kind of allow for a little bit of specialization. Speed dashing to kind of capture more territory at once. Shields to help you defend against the shadow. And then boosting, which I'm working on right now. So there's permanent boosting, which would come from your NFT attributes. The rarer the attributes or the more powerful, for example, you are, then that'll translate into your in-game stats. Faction rarity would also play into this. Real time, so this is something that I think is pretty cool. So as you're playing, you have the ability to kind of play with other fractal ships really close to you, and that gives you kind of a proximity boost. And then faction territory, so depending on how much territory your faction has, that can also boost you. And faction alignment, which I'm still trying to define exactly how that would work, but the idea is, it would encourage cooperation between factions. Power-ups and upgrades, so the idea here is Crystal generates some kind of currency for you, so the more Crystal you have, the more capacity for upgrading and getting power-ups that you have. You'd have individual player and tower power-ups, and then you'd also have faction level power-ups that kind of apply to the entire faction. And that could even extend to, base power-ups or something that affect everyone. And one thing that I think is unique here is we can implement in-game voting. So you can, in real time, vote on what kind of power-ups and upgrades you want for your faction. And then, majority wins. So lastly, I just want to talk about, how I would plan to use the Solana if, things go my way. So I'm, planning to reinvest this entirely into the game. So the focus here would be around building up to the idea of actually launching. So UI, model, and audio design and development. I would need some help with that. So try to find people in the community or maybe outside the community to help with that. Incentivize playtesting and feedback. This is really important to me. So I really want a lot of feedback. So I want to create, tournaments and sessions where maybe there's a little bit of an incentive to actually participate. And then feature development, just get more, developers involved. Multiplayer server purchase, just to kind of facilitate the actual playing of the game. And then ideation and development for Fractal Launchpad, which is the ultimate goal here. So I have some ideas for that, but they're not, fully developed, and I don't know what's actually possible. So that would be questions I actually have for you guys. And that is it. I tried to keep this under 5 minutes. Hopefully I did that. So thank you very much for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Neil. Looks really awesome. I'm particularly impressed because you're only a one-person team. You've achieved a whole bunch in just with just your own ideas. And I think the game itself is really awesome. It looks fun to play. I like the fact that it engages a large number of people on each team because it feels like it could be a really awesome tournament to play in front of the Fractal community. You must have had a lot of fun devising the gameplay, dynamics, like the towers built on the territories to keep them safe and such. Maybe a question I have for you is like, where did you get the idea for this awesome game? And like, did you have this floating around in your head before the hackathon started?
No, I actually didn't. I think it was really based off of the actual Fractal NFTs. So I was looking for an idea that really kind of embraced, the names of the attributes and the way that, the factions were, and I just started thinking about, flying ships, and then I was like, well, how can I make a game out of that? I was thinking of, some old school games that, kind of like asteroids and that kind of thing. And I don't know, all of a sudden just popped into my head. I was like, whoa, what if you just kind of had some kind of conquest or survival mechanism here? And then, yeah, it just kind of grew from there.
I love it. So the game itself is like a kind of like a tower defense game. Is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a tower defense game, not necessarily in the classic sense, because you're actually you're a character in the game and you're moving around real time. And so you don't really have access to the entire map all at once. So you're kind of having to figure out strategies to kind of keep an area defended, and kind of go explore and take over another area. But you've got your team to help with that.
Yeah, makes sense. This is cool. I especially really liked, I think, a lot, like when you talked about the vision and kind of what you have planned. Obviously, like F100 was so short. It was cool to see how you were
Yeah.
actually going to use the potential soul to reinvest in the game and like where you would focus your time there. So I thought that was really interesting to incorporate as a part of your presentation. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
But let's get this show on the road. Okay, so Fractal Wars was inspired by making a game with the community. So I've obviously been around for the last 8 weeks or so interacting with the community, and I've had a great experience trying to learn with the community and find out what would be fun to play around with. So throughout this process, I tried to make it both educational and engaging. So my first my first inspiration came from a game called Agar.io that I played with my kids, which is your little cells going around the world and consuming other cells, and that's the first implementation of the game. And I've been iterating based on either technical difficulties or community input. So we decided temporarily that Fractal Wars allows you to choose your fractal, your NFT, and play with that, going around the world, collecting water droplets and fighting your opponents. That's a technical limitation at the moment. The consumption method is a little bit laggy when you have people all around the world trying to play in the one server. But if we had thousands of players, obviously we can have people playing in their respective regions. So throughout this process, we created a few videos on YouTube to try and encourage people to understand how to make games. So, and also trying to obviously incorporate the fact that it's all very much fractal / NFT related. Now let me just quickly engage my time. So I will compress this at 3:47 on my end. AM, by the way. So I'll give it my best crack in the early morning hours here. The benefits of the game right now is that it's been immediately playable, and it's been playable for the last during the whole development saga, actually. So we're currently able to play it, and the actual assets, everything within the game has been made in-house, one by my daughter and other by a friend of mine, Marcom 3D. And let me just hop on over to the next page. In regards to the criteria, yes, I should take a quick step back. Creativity, team interaction was obviously just in regards to me actually creating with the community, and team being my daughter and my friends. And yeah, hopping over to interactivity. And feel free to pause me at any point in time if you want to ask any questions. Obviously, the intent of this is to see how we can implement Fractal NFTs, and my goal has been to try and prototype, just come up with different ideas as to how the attributes of the Fractal NFTs can influence the course of play. So currently, within the current version of the game, as what was submitted, the power of the fractals is implementing how much damage the bullets, the water droplet bullets that you shoot out do. Purity is impacting how the purification process when you collect water droplets and your fractal grows. The higher purity rating means you can actually grow a little bit quicker. And all of these little nuances is something to be played around with. Obviously, you don't want to make it pay to play that, if you don't have a fractal, you just get decimated. But just little encouragements along the way, and just to sort of test it and see the feedback from the community, essentially. Velocity, obviously, it goes without saying that should impact slightly the speed of your fractal. And spin, the rotational, and also the concepts of spin. I was thinking is maybe it could have a bit of a defense element that, as you're spinning, it might be reducing the amount of damage you take in the course of battle. Being mindful of time. A lot of my game, just quick breakdown, a lot of the time I spent was mostly in regards to sort of building the framework, the multiplayer layer, so it actually allowed me to go on to the next stage, where my vision was actually to try and recreate a lot of old classic games, but make them multiplayer. So if they're fractal inspired, it could be, and sorry, on that prior screen, I was just relating to the amount of effort that I put into, say, networking, game design, testing, and what have you. So from my perspective, it hasn't been visual design. It's mostly been just building that back end to allow me to then go ahead and create other game concepts. There's a bunch of ideas here that are to be implemented as I invest time into it. So power-ups, spectator modes, competitions, all about community engagement. And also, I'd love the idea of being able to get it working with, say, something like Twitch. I've previously done Twitch streaming, and I always personally found it... I couldn't find a lot of Twitch games where you could interact with your community at a grander scale. Most of the games I played was just marbles, so you could do like a giveaway, and it's 200 people in your game, and they got a random chance at winning something, whereas I always wanted to play something with my community for a giveaway concept. So if I had the skills and time one day, maybe I could create a game like Fractal mini games. You have people join your game, they're connected with their Solana wallet, they play a little battle, a little competition, and it automatically sends out from your streamer wallet out to whoever won that game. Little ideas like that I thought would be great. I don't know if anyone's timing me, but I believe I might have maybe a minute left. Sound about right?
Yeah.
Cool,
Sounds right.
Cool. Thanks. And so in regards to the future, yes, this is my idea. That I like the idea of playing around with different games and using that same framework that I've already built, understanding how networking can work, and have people, join in servers, join in Australia, join in US, have this lobby system, friend system. Once again, that's what I've mostly worked on with my game, and now it's a matter of quickly, prototyping different games and trying to see if I can, flesh it out from here and have it very much all about fractal community engagement. That was my initial thought. I need to work out the future of it, obviously financially. How can I make there be some sort of mechanism to cover costs and operational costs? But my initial goal is really to try and come up with different concepts that allow us to prototype and explore how we can best be an example for other game developers as well, how they can potentially use fractals. And I think that's mostly it. I won't go through any gameplay footage, but just a quick example. I'm just playing around with some assets and trying to come up with like a 2D platformer game where you can jump through with your fractal and have a race. You can have 30 people in the race. And I don't know if anyone's played the game called Bloody Trapland, but you actually have a difficult map. This is this is an hour of me quickly pulling together different assets and throwing them on the map. But you actually have difficult maps where there's moving objects, things that are essentially killing you and your opponents, and you're all racing to get to the end. The person who gets to the end, their time is logged in the leaderboard and they win the race. So like difficult skill maps, but where you can have multiple people playing. Sort of inspired by a game called Trackmania as well. But that probably wraps it up. It's Fractal mini games is my go.
Awesome.
Do you guys have any questions?
Chris, thank you. Yeah, I love your energy, first of all. Amazing, especially for 3:30 a.m. So appreciate that. Yes. And then I love this idea of the mini games that we could use as multiplayer, like we could kind of be marble replacements. People get a ton of people from the community to play, and then maybe there's rewards or prizes or whatever for it. I want to do like a weekly happy hour, Fractal happy hour, where we bring in people from the community to play play games together.
And having something that we can play right now, and obviously very Fractal centric on Web3, that's definitely the goal for me personally. I think that would be fantastic.
I love that you've built in public the content you've been posting to YouTube, just showing the people what you're building and how and why was just epic to watch.
Awesome.
I subscribed to your YouTube channel, and I was excited every
Awesome.
time you posted content. I loved
I
your
haven't been able to.
vision.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say I haven't been able to these past 2 weeks. I'm very much due for an update. I'm going to start pushing up some more content.
It's all right. You're building suspense. I love how your vision is a series of mini games. There's just so much potential in these very simple games that engage community in the right way. So, I mean, the fact that you just were able to whip this thing up that you're showing us on your screen in just an hour is a testament to how skilled you are as a builder. And yeah, I also think that the Fractal Wars game is really fun. I think we've seen a bunch of situations where there's been like a dozen or so people just battling it out, and you're getting feedback and testing in front of our Discord. And I think that engagement is just top notch.
Look, with all my businesses, you guys have seen, I'm in entertainment and leisure primarily. So my mindset has always been, I'm going to put out an idea, I'm going to put out an activity, and I'm going to let the community tell me if they like it. So we did bubble soccer, we did archery tag or combat archery, and at the end of the day, I'm driven based on response. If we didn't have people react so positively to our content and our activity, then I would pursue something else. I wouldn't try and force people to go, no, you guys have to enjoy this activity. It's amazing. I like just putting it out there and letting people sort of dictate the direction where we should be going, because that seems to be the easiest win from my perspective anyway. But yeah, go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I think part of the criteria, like a big part of it, is definitely the interactivity and kind of how like the gameplay or whatever project thinks about that. And I think Fractal Wars is a really good example of it. I remember one of the F100 progress check-ins when you were showing that demo. I think it was really easy for people to understand, so that interactivity comes through even more so. And obviously you involving the community, I think, is really interesting. I think our dream would be if a game like Among Us came out on F100 and basically was able to kind of rally and build this community out of this very, very simple but organic gameplay that's more about having fun and having fun together. And I feel like similar things about how you're thinking about the future roadmap, and how maybe those two things might actually be very closely related. So yeah, I think interactivity and the vision part were spiked for me from your pitch.
Thank you. Hey, look, we can put Among Us in the poll and get the community to vote on the next mini game that I sort of throw into that ecosystem. And with my games, I'm trying to also make sure that they work in the web browser primarily, and then they do actually work as well on Android phones and iOS. But first point of call is try to make sure it works web-based. So a lot of my graphics do need to be low poly, and obviously be able to be run on by computers all around the world. I don't want to sort of exclude a lot of people from being able to play them. Like this one here might be a little bit too visual intensive, so I'll have to keep that in mind, but we'll see how we go.
Love it. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that was the presenters. We had 6 amazing different teams from around the world building really cool experiences. I'm actually incredibly excited to play some of these some more as they continue their development. It seems like there are a lot of people who are really pushing real games that they want to launch, which is awesome to see. So yeah, thank you for joining. And we're going to be doing the community voting now. You can check out the poll. We'll put it in the comments or in the description below. And I'll see you guys next time.